Hey guys, it's KeepBotting here, continuing where we left off. This is Let's Play the Elder Scrolls Arena Episode 2 Creation. We're going to choose our class, and we're going to create our character. I'm going to go in depth about the two classes that I like the most, and I'm going to discuss the pros and cons of each, which are down here. After that, I finally choose one. Now, I'm probably going to end up re-rolling the stats lots of times, because I've got an obsession with having everything perfect. So let's go here. Now the two classes that I tend to like the most are the assassin and the bard. Now I'll show you why. If we go over here to our Let's Play pad, Let's Play notepad, this is the good stuff about the assassin. The assassin is a thief-based class. That is that's good because thieves they're faster, they can pick locks, they can pick pockets, and they can steal stuff from stores more easily than other classes can. The assassin receives a plus 3% bonus to melee critical hits per level, or critical hits is sometimes abbreviated as C hits. He can use any weapon in the game, which is rare for a thief-based class. The hitting power is decent because he has D12 hit dice. And the assassin has 25 starting hit points plus a roll of 1 D12 dice, and that's pretty good. I think the highest hit points is a barbarian, which has 25 plus a roll of a D30. Now, the bad stuff about the assassin is that he's a naked character. What that means is he has barely any armor. He's restricted to leather armor and can't use shields. Also, he has no spellcasting ability. That means no shield spells. Now, if I can't cast shield spells and I have no armor and leather armor and no shields, that's going to make this character. I'm going to have a lot of deaths when I'm starting out. And he's also got the worst stealth of any thief class. He's still got a lot of stealth, but there are other thief-based classes that have way more stealth than this guy. And that makes stealing useful stuff hard. Because, trust me, I mean, in the later Elder Scrolls games, you don't need to steal stuff as much as you would normally. But in Arena, that's not true. You need to steal something. You need to... it makes your life a lot easier if you steal stuff. Alright, next class I like is the bard. He's a jack of all trades, but a master of none. Which means he can do everything. He can engage in melee, magic, and ranged combat. He can pick locks, he can pick pockets. But he's not particularly good at any of them. Well, that being said, since he is a jack of all trades, he can do everything, just not very well. That makes him much more flexible than the other classes. And at higher levels, you get a good amount of critical hits and pretty decent spell power. He can wield most weapons: the dagger, the short sword, the broadsword, the saber, the mace, the war axe, and the short bow. My favorite of all those is the saber. It's a pretty decent melee weapon. It's got good damage, and and he can wear the short bow for ranged attacking. He can wear leather or chain armor, which is a big plus over the assassin. Chain armor isn't that good, but it's something. And he can use any shield except tower shields. The bad stuff about the bard is he's very hard to start out with, because he might be able to do melee, ranged, and magic, but he's not particularly good at any of them. He doesn't have any specializations. For example, a warrior is specialized for melee combat, so the warrior's melee ability is a lot higher than the bard. The bard isn't specialized for everything, so he's really rounded, and that can sometimes be a bad thing. He's got low spell points, again, because he's a very rounded class, and he isn't a spellcasting class, but he can spellcast, which means he has low spell points. And he only has 25 plus D10 starting health, which is slightly lower than the assassin. Now, all that being said, I think that the Bard... Well, actually, I was going to say the Bard's better, but I'm not sure, you know? I think I'm going to go with the Assassin. Because he might not have a lot of defensive abilities, but he can wield any weapon. And he has D12 hit dice and 25 plus D12 starting hit points. And he can steal pretty well. But he's got no spells, which makes me think I want to do the Bard. Now, I lied. I said I was going to do Assassin, but I am going to do the Bard. So let's do this. Bard. What will be thy name? Oops. KeepBotting, of course, because that is my name. I'm a male. Thank you very much. Okay. From where dost thou hail? KeepBotting the Bard. Alright, well, picking a good place from where you come from is very important in Arena, because you don't pick your race. Your location determines your race. For instance, if I picked Skyrim, I would be a Nord, because Nords come from Skyrim. If I picked High Rock, I would be a Breton, because Bretons come from Skyrim. Now, I'm going to go through the pros and cons of each race. Now, an Argonian, that would be an interesting pick, because they generally have Thief and Mage capabilities. But since I picked the Assassin and... Wait. Yeah. See, I can't even remember what I picked. But, I'm not going to be using a whole lot of magic. And there are other classes that have better abilities. Now, the Bretons is a good pick because Bretons are from High Rock, and they've got a higher tendency to use magic attacks. And when you get up to fighting really dangerous spell slingers, that will be a lot helpful. Dark Elves, which are from Morrowind, if I was a Dark Elf, I would get critical hits a little more often. High Elves, I wouldn't pick High Elves because Bards can, High Elves, if you're a High Elf, you're immune to paralyzation. But since I can use magic and ranged in addition to melee attacks, I don't really want that. Now, this is why I think that being a Khajiit would be the best choice, is I'm going to be a class that is more inclined towards thievery. Now, Khajiits hail from this location, Elsewhere. I don't know how to pronounce that, but I want to be a Khajiit because Khajiits are more agile than other races. They can jump. I think if you have a high agility, they can jump 2 or more spaces, or 2 or more tiles in front of you, which is good. And they're more naturally inclined to thievery. So I'm going to pick Elsewhere, land of the Khajiit. Yes, I will accept that as my home. Then that will be known as the Bard, KeepBotting, who would call Elsewhere, land of the Khajiit, his home. Know ye this also, thy race is born of the desert, where life is cruel and harsh, and death comes on vultures' wings. I think there should be an apostrophe right there, with vultures. Thou art feline and sleek, deadly hunters of the wastes. Another interesting point is that orcs are treated as enemies in the Elder Scrolls, and you cannot play as Imperials either. Okay guys, I think I'm going to leave you here because this video went on longer than I expected, and I'll see you in the next video when I will distribute my points as needed, keeping in mind the recommendations for my chosen class. Thanks, bye.